Hello everyone, SirMonkeySuit here, back again with Haikyuu. We are on Season 4, Episode 8, and in the last episode, I believe we officially ended the match between Datatech and Karasuno, right? And Datatech won. As far as I remember, the match was officially over. And yeah, Datatech did win. So yeah, I mean, they officially got their win. I figured that would have been the case beforehand. Like I've said, you know, in the past two episodes that they were just due a win. And yeah, I mean, it kind of came down to not just simply the fact that Kageyama was coming back into his king role, so there was a bit of, you know what I mean, like there was that whole like thing that was going on, and I think it just sort of goes to show that match that mostly it was down to the fact that Datiko have really upped their game more than the fact of like Karasuno were just at odds with each other, because really they weren't. Like, it wasn't that they were at odds with each other really throughout the entire match, and even when it you know, the whole king sort of persona thing did come out, it was squashed pretty much immediately with how his teammates just react to it, because they're absolutely fine with it. So I think you know, after the match had like finished, it was sort of, I think it was easy to determine that, like, from that match, that it was mostly down to Datiko improving than Karasuno, like, you know, being at odds with each other. So yeah, I mean, that was my bad. I'm pretty sure I talked about it in episode 7 a bit, about how, like, I never talked about how good Datiko were at this point. You know, like, I guess that, you know, I couldn't have obviously predicted how good they were going to be, you know, beforehand, but even like during the match and whatnot, for some reason, like, I guess I just saw it as like a chance to talk about Kageyama's like whole king thing and how that's affecting the team. But yeah, I believe that Datiko is just really you know, coming to their own now, and I love the fact that they talked about it, them possibly being the hardest opponent next year, which means they've gone to like the bottom of the pile at the top. So that's just really cool. Obviously, with that becomes a whole thing with the third years of other schools leaving and whatnot, and the fact that they now have figured out just that amazing sort of just block technique that that is insanely difficult to get through, and they've even changed their sort of motto thing as well. It was the Iron Wall, now it's the Impregnable Wall. So there, I mean, it's not going to mean much when people eventually do get through it, if that does happen, but I'm sure that you know, as long as the anime continues and I keep watching it, I'm sure that'll come into the second year or whatever, possibly. But yeah, so that I think that's pretty much it, right? They basically squashed the whole king thing. Like, well, they didn't really squash it more than they're fine with it happening. And I talked about it being like just this kind of passion thing of just, you know, wanting everyone in the team to do their best, and, you know, and whatnot. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much all I've got. So yeah, nothing really else to say. We're going to get in episode 8 and see what we get. Of course, the reaction itself for Haikyuu is still on YouTube, and it'll be down there. It'll be like transparent, you'll be able to see it, and that'll be just the 10-minute cut version. But if you do want to go watch the full-length version, the link to that is in the description down there. You know, if you do want it, then it is there. You will have to be a full-length tier patron in order to have access to it, but, you know, the option's there if you want it. But yeah, nothing else to really talk about, so we're going to get in episode 8 and see what we get. So without further ado, let's go. Can't get through.
いやー、今のは完全にブロックすげえだな。
お前やっぱり
Actually winning
紛
there.
れるですよね。
Well, they know he has to be the decoy. They were actually winning that round. So wait a minute. What are we at now in terms of? Fuck. What are we at in terms of wins? Because I don't think they've won a single round yet, have they? If they hadn't won a round, then they wouldn't still be going, would they? Because I'm sure they're going to 5 rounds, and if it's, you know, well, it's the best of 5, right? So if you win 3 of them, and they're on the 4th one now, so they must have won a round. But I can't remember I can't remember them actually winning one though. Challenger. None of them are. Yeah, they're all winning. Nice. That's it. They won the round. Yeah, so that was the first. Yeah, that was the first set that they were under. They won. They do seal walks.
今まで影山がセッターの時、日向はシンクロ攻撃に加わっていなかった。ワンテンポ早く攻撃に入っていたからな。
みんなのファーストテンポに対して日向くんはマイナステンポですね。
立て子のすごいとこは日向に超速攻を決められてもそれはそれと割り切ってるところ。
動じないよね。
ドシャットじゃなくてもあらゆる攻撃に2枚はついてくるし、日向の超速攻自体にも触る。止められなくてもコースさえ絞ればフロアディフェンスがいるわけだしね。試合後半疲れてきた日向を満を持してドシャッとなんだとカラスのには打つ手なし。
お前どっちの味方だ。
I guess it's just about changing up that tempo then, isn't it?
紛れるですよね。
ああ、いいんじゃない。
俺はお前らの速攻を初めて見た時すげえと思った。どこからでも使える速攻、ブロックを翻弄するブロックにとって怖い速さ、そして速さは万能と思っていた。でも手だれのリードブロックに対して先に飛び出してしまうと可能性の中からいち早く排除されるだけになってしまう。
最初に通用した武器が最後まで通じるとは限らない。先へ行くんだ、先へ行くんだ。
対応
Just
す
gotta,
ると
yeah.
対応する。
You're just gonna change it up,
それを
don't
サ
you?
ボった方が先へ進めなくなる。
Because of the fact that they all expect him to do that move, they've always got their eye on him, so anytime he's going to go for the ball, they think they're going up for that one quick attack. But if he's not coming out, then they can't, you know what I mean? There's no reason to focus on him.
最後まで選択肢の一つであり続けろ。
Nice. So Daichi getting their fucking get a point.
まあ、今までやかましかったやつが急に黙ったみたいな感じだもん。
That's a good thing about him. That's why it's a decoy. Oh, fucking hell. That was very close. Yeah, I love the back ones, man. I love those. They're great.
使わないとは言ってない。ヒレルの後の超速攻は映えますね。
ボールだけを追ってるわけじゃないんだ。レシーブされたボール、攻撃に入ろうとしているスパイカー、
Yeah.
セッター、瞬時のアイワークで必要な情報を探す。日向がまさに情報を増やしやがる。非常にイライラする相手。どこで来るんだ、どのタイミングで来るんだって。
He's so quick and he's like on maneuvering and like.
何も読み取らせてなんかくれない凄腕影山。こいつのせいで日向はいつでもどこでも攻撃可能だ。
関係あるかわかりませんが、以前鵜飼前監督が
ビ太郎のマイナステンポは単品では確かにすごいが使い方がもったいないな。
She there?
クソじじい。
I can't remember her being there.
今の一本があったことで、立て子はほんの少し多めに火
It's just moving the focus to Hinata again,
そ
so
うすればサイドがほんの少し決めやすくなって、それが重なればブロックは迷い始める。ブロックシステム崩
yeah,
壊。
it's all read blocking in it
カラ
really.
スノの超理想的なストーリ
That fucking tongue.
山口。
ー。ごめんツッキ
I mean, it's kind of like the perfect way to play against Date right now because by changing it up like that often,
集中しろよ。
The focus.
時間的にこれが今日ラストセットなんだからな。
their focus
すま
changes.
ねえ。疲れてきても我慢してフォームきれいに。はい。
8 fucking sets. Alright, I guess they were going to 5 sets then. Getting knackered.
ー。あー、ツッキー。
I think he
月島、本日スタミナ切れって感じだな。
a lot.
悪いけど僕、機械でもバケモン日向でもないんで。
選手の状態を把握するんだ。クロス。
No, he went straight, but
俺今日いいとこなしだ。
でも今、すげえいいストレートでしたよ。絶対クロスに打つと思った。
おお、影山は励ましを覚え。
マジのやつだと思うぞ。
よし。
俺ですか、俺ですか、俺ですね、俺ですよね、俺ですよね、俺ですよね、俺ですよね、俺ですよね。
本当に肝が据わったな。
Get him in.
でも
No.
来ました。
It's the other. It's the other jump float server. Oh God, no! It fucking worked. How is he better than Yamaguchi at jump float server? Ah, fuck. All right, well.
お前呼ばれるたびビビんなよ。
Nice. Right, 2 more points. Woo! Cheeky little quick, and he only gets there. Alright, what's it go to? It's not going to Hinata this time.
電波のシンクロ攻撃じゃない10番今度は飛び出した
Oh, he fucking slowed it to like a half minus tempo.
今度は俺が止め
It's a
る
decoy. Yes, a nice cheeky back attack. Nice. Well, it didn't look like a back attack from there. Sweet though. That was awesome. Like a
黄金川を釣りに行ったように見えた召喚かでもどっちみち東根さんを選択したのは俺だから俺の手柄だ
he did learn about the more information of the game, right? Like
県内最強の壁。あの時より高さも強度も増している。不思議と怖くない。
there you go. Not a chance. 3 against you now. I don't know what. Unless this is going. Is this where you're going to try your thing out? Feint. Fucking hell. Whoa. He aimed it towards the top of his hand, did he? I guess that must have been what he was looking to do. Looking to try out.
なあ影山ってすげえ練習してそうなのに全然テーピングとかしてねえよな指痛くなんね
指は鍛えてる指立てとかいろいろテーピングすると違和感があるからできるだけしない
指の手入れ
Perfectionist.
俺も今日からやる
金子川は
え
惜しい黄金川
Did he get it wrong?
黄金川は
Oh
最高到達
God.
何センチだ
340センチだったかな
It's so hard for me to determine like the 340 like in
高い
centimeters.
ところへつまり最短距離のセットアップ
春子頑張ってください。
He
ありがとうございます。
俺もヒゲにしようかなどこ
he was looking at Asahi.
西野や今日も練習付き合うぜ
Is that why he's been getting better?
こんにゃろ
I love Tanaka's like holds his arm.
朝はさ苦手なオーバーやんなくてもアンダーでさばけないこともないんじゃないのでももっと上がいる
He needs to be the best receiver in
選
both.
択肢が増えるって分かっててやんないなんてつまんねえよ俺だって活躍はしたいけどしくじるくらいなら成功もいらない
Oh man.
でもこれは俺の練習
I can't believe this guy's like
西野屋に絶対取れないサーブを
this must be like for a Yamaguchi character arc coming up. I mean even though he's I mean
何
負けられん
別に上手い人が増えるのはいいことじゃんお前がピンサー外れるわけじゃなし
was that like legit encouragement from Tsuki there or was
スパイクもいっぺんに練習できればいいのにな
or was that like
影山がいるときはスパイク
a
やりた
factual
いしな
thing?
兄ちゃん何してんの？
必殺ロンリーパス練習
夏もやる？
それに夏には無理だね
夏体育なら何でも一番だもん。
ふふん
No, there you go.
俺ソフトバレーボールでやってみろよああやってみろ
Bless. He looks so tall there, doesn't he, next to his little sister. The only time. It's getting good with the ball control. Nice.
ボールと仲良くなったね。でも今は仲良し。
That it? Okay, episode 8. Right, well, I was completely wrong then. I thought that, yeah, I must have just been completely wrong. I wouldn't care, like, it wasn't that long ago since I recorded the last 2 episodes of Haikyuu. It was only, like, Saturday. Today's Tuesday, so... I don't know. I just, my brain just must not be computing today. But anyway, yeah, so they carried on. So was it a total of 8 sets altogether, or did they play multiple games? I would say that they probably only did 8 sets, because multiple games, that would, you know what I mean? You might as well just keep the sets going at that point, right? Because, I mean, with it being a practice match, the rules don't have to be that strict to be like, oh, 5 rounds, so, you know, if you win 3 of them, you've won the game. However, I would like to know who actually won it, like in terms of sets. They had 9 sets, right? They had 9. So one of them must have won more than the other. You can't have a draw in that regard. And they didn't mention who won. So, you know, and I'm almost tempted to like say that, you know, even though I was like, well, Datako should have won it. I don't know. I don't know really if it matters all that much, really, with it being a practice game, but it just lets me like know ahead of time that Datako has at least won 1 game against them, even though it was a practice match, you know. But yeah, so I like the fact that they did actually figure out some sort of plan to counter the way that Datako do play, which you know comes down to the idea that Datako, because they are a defensive team and that is what they, you know, that is their almost sole focus in a way. They don't really have anybody like, you know, do they have anybody that is considered an ace? You know, like, do they have an Asahi? Like, do they have an Ushijima type character in there that is there to actually spike the ball? They must have wing spikers, like, surely, but like, it's almost like I feel for those guys because I almost feel like they're not attacking threat more than them like support, or like just to be there just in case, because a lot of Datako's jobs are serving and blocking, and that's pretty much their sort of go-to, you know, strategy. So it's interesting. But yeah, I mean, I love the fact that that's how they would counter the sort of the read block aspect of Datako by, because I mean we've been told throughout the whole show, like all the way back to season 1, like at season 1 when Hinata's like being told that he's the decoy and whatever, and because he sort of shines the brightest, it takes the focus off everybody else. And the same applies in this match here, which is what they were pointing out, that even though we've had 4 seasons of this, I guess 3.5, we could put it like that. Actually, you know what? We'll say 4 seasons, then let's just like and pretend that the season 3, if that had been a full season of 25 episodes or whatever, would be getting about halfway through. So you know what I mean? Like it's been quite a while, and I mean after the spring tournament, when do they? Don't Japan like start their years in spring? I think they do. Like January time or something like that. Let's see if I can look that up, just so I can get an idea. Japan school start? I don't know. Starts. I'm sure they do, you know. Oh, no, it doesn't. Well, it does begin in spring, but it's April, though. So they start in, like, July. Oh, okay. Alright, okay, yeah. So I guess that it would be... Yeah. I mean, because I was just going to say, like, it is coming up to the end of their first year, right? Like, after this tournament, this is it. This is the last tournament before the second year starts, right? So, I've lost my original point. Fuck. God, no! What was my point? Oh, yeah, right, yeah. Because they've had 4 seasons, but that's, like, to us, the viewer, that's meta. But, you know, in terms of, like, a full year or whatever, they've faced them twice in competitive, haven't they? I think they have. Yeah, they faced them twice, I think, in competitive nature, and they've lost both times. And then they've faced them here against the in the practice match, and they're still, like, even though it may be more subdued than it was, like, in the first or second game or whatever. Specifically the second game, because they had a full match beforehand to, like, understand that this is the threat. That they're still, even now, focusing more on him than they do anybody else. And by doing that, it not only allows, like, you know, for him personally to be a decoy, but it almost like leaks into the other players to be decoys as well. Because if their focus solely, like, well, not even solely, but if their focus is more towards Hinata and what he's doing, because that's how they tend to sort of, like, read most of the attacks that are going down, is like, what is Hinata doing first, right? What's he doing? Once they're going to gauge on that, then right, okay, what's the other, what's the more, I guess, what you would consider more readable players in the game, you know, that are going to make the attack. So Asahi and Tanaka tend to be more direct, whereas Hinata, you know, like Ukai said, like, he can basically attack from any point in the court, which is, you know, what makes him very dangerous. And because he's maneuverable, like, very fucking quick, like, not just in, like, you know, running and pace and going in one direction, but also, like, on the turn and forcing people to, like, you know, think he's coming straight at the net, but no, he can maneuver and go to the other side of the spike of the setter if he wants to. You know, but by him being the sort of, like, the decoy, it's almost like because the focus is much more on him as an individual. When it gets to a point that at this point, like in this match, where Hinata stops and almost becomes one of the team and not an individual, that all of a sudden you can't just focus on what he's doing. You have to focus on what the others are doing, because he's coming at the same time as everyone else. And the fact that he changed it up twice in the game. Before, he would do the minus tempo thing and go before anybody else went. And then in this match, the first time around, he stopped and everyone went at once. And then he did it again, and they all went at the same time, but then he increased his speed midway through, and is what I call, like, the sort of, like, the half minus tempo, where it's not minus tempo, like, so where you're heading off immediately, but you're allowing everyone to run, and then you're slightly going ahead. And essentially, like, I want to, like, almost, like, make an analogy on how, because it's a really, like, cool idea about how the best, like, sort of, well, the image I've got in my head is that Hinata doesn't shine until, it's like, let's say Hinata had, like, some kind of artificial, or no, maybe natural light, right? That obviously is, that's the focus that people have on him, right? Is this bright light, right? Because he's the sun, isn't he? But what if that light does not appear unless he is, like, directly in front, right? So if we're talking specifically about the minus or the tempo or whatever, that if he is in front, the focus is all on him. So when he's stopped and he's going at first tempo with everybody else, he is as you know, dimly littered, I guess, as the rest of his players that he's running with. But if he goes ahead, he's more lighter, right? His light starts to brighten up, and so the focus tends to shift towards him. So if he's doing the half minus tempo, and if he's starting out at first tempo, moving ahead, increasing his pace so he's out in front, his light gets more bright, and therefore the focus shifts towards him slightly, and therefore he ended up luring Kaganagawa out because of it. And yeah, I mean, taking advantage of Kaganagawa's like sort of, I guess what you would call naivety in the game, because he is a first year as well. But I just, oh God, it's crazy. Like, I would have been. It's a crazy thing about this show. Like, I've said it before about how the sports aspect of it. It's like, how far can you go before things may seem like it's getting repetitive? And that was one of the it wasn't a criticism. It was something that I had in my head, like that I was trying to like, somewhat validate in my head, like how could you keep a sports anime going for this long, before it starts sort of like repeating itself, and like how much can they really learn and teach us out of the sport and then you've got episodes like this, 4.5 seasons in or whatever, that is, he's changing his tempo and surprising you almost twice in a way, which is it's crazy. It's definitely like the last thing that I was expecting, but like, I liked how Kageyama pointed it out and just been like, what the hell was that? Was that instinct? And I think what that was Hinata putting into practice what he'd learned when he was away at the youth camp, because what he was learning at the youth camp wasn't just like the whole receiving thing, but it was like a lot of it was the information gathering that he needs to pay attention to while he's actually mid game, which is what I think he was using there. He was seeing that Kaganagawa was like more sort of like solely focused on Hinata, whereas the other ones probably were more focused generally. And Kaganagawa was like focused on what Hinata was doing, and if Hinata picked up on that, then that was the reason why he decided to move ahead. And like, and that's just the thing. Like whether or not Hinata actually thought beforehand, oh, I'm going to start at first tempo and then increase, I don't know. It could have been a case of where like they were in first tempo, they were just about to go, and then when they were all going at the same time, Hinata was like, oh, hold on a second, you know what I mean, and then instinctively went forward. But it's cool anyway. Sugi was feeling it there at the end, while the rest of them seemed to be, fairly, like still within the game, at least physically. Like, I mean, I guess Tanaka was a bit more like, I guess like it was getting to him a bit mentally at the end there, but it seems as though that means that Suki's the most unfit out of the lot of them. That doesn't mean he is unfit. It just means that his stamina isn't as expansive as the rest of the guys. But yeah, I mean, I would have figured so anyway. I mean, if we're just going by looks alone, like he doesn't look like a sports guy, does he? He really doesn't. But it's just the thing. And then we get into the Kinoshita guy. So, who I assume is he the second? Is he one of the second years? I think he might be. And he's doing the jump float serve now. And wherever he got that, I don't know. It's like this guy came out of nowhere and is now like, God. It makes us like want to go back and just check to see like what is like who were the because there were 3 second years, right? And one of them is Enoshida, I think. And he had some game time, not very much, but he was the only one that actually got any game time, I think. But Kinoshita has been, I don't know if he's always like been sort of a jump float server, before the show even began or whatever, and that's what he was doing. I don't know. And I mean, we had like Suki sort of encourage Yamaguchi at one point and basically say like, well, he's not going to take away your position as the pinch server, which, I mean, I was almost like, really? Because, I mean, it may just be me, and none of you guys might not actually see this, but I almost feel like in the course of these past few episodes, he hasn't failed much in terms of the jump floats that like Kinoshita hasn't. You know, like his ratio of good jump float serves seems to be better than Yamaguchi's. You know, and you know that's the thing is with Yamaguchi is that the thing that he doesn't have on his side is the fact that he just hasn't had a lot of time in game. Like he's only been brought in like twice mid game, I think. You know, and his ratio wasn't great. He got like I think which one was it? Was it the one against Aoba Josai? Or was it Shiratorizawa? I think it was the Aoba Josai one where he got the point. You know, but you know, regardless, like the idea that he won't take the position is like slightly worrying to me. But I don't know what Suki was actually talking about. Like was he actually encouraging him and giving him like compliments in that way, or was it a case of like, because I know how Suki is and he's quite sort of upfront and literal, so you'll kind of say what he kind of means, and he might be a bit more factual in what he's saying. So if that is the case, does that mean that Yamaguchi is the pinch server? Like that is what I mean. I know he's been called that before as like I guess a legitimate title by Coach Ukai, but that doesn't mean he can't be taken over, right? And that just, I guess, like I think I was right in what I said during the reaction, where I think that he maybe just it may, like, this is setting it up for like a Yamaguchi sort of character arc now, where we actually see him improve a hell of a lot more, because he's been like Yamaguchi's been very background in regards to sort of his playing time in volleyball matches and stuff. Like I said, he's only been brought on like you know, a couple times, and I think that's just down to the idea that he didn't really have any standout qualities beforehand until like midway through season 1, where he specifically asked the one guy from the neighborhood volleyball club or whatever they are, the guy with the glasses, right, about teaching him to do the jump float serve, and that the idea is that like that technique is quite hard to sort of nail down and get right, and so therefore it's just taken a long time to sort of perfect. But like getting into that point now, like it because he hasn't had that big sort of thing that takes place around him, like that specific character arc that the likes of like Tsukishima has, and like, you know, Kageyama has, and you know, and Asadi has had it, and Hinata's had a lot of, like, you know, time to improve and all of that sort of screen time, but you know, because he's the protagonist anyway. But you know what I mean? So he's definitely due that kind of character arc, and I think that's what this is specifically is for. Just, you know, down to the fact that this Kinoshita guy is like, he's literally come out of nowhere. You know, like if he is one of those second years, which I believe he is one of the 3 second years, that is like just over the course of this year has kind of like just put a lot of effort into you know, trying to improve his game. I mean, I will say this: if the only reason why he's decided to become a jump floor setter is because of Yamaguchi, and he almost sees Yamaguchi as like an easy replacement, then that is dickish. I fucking hope he's not done that. But you know, we'll see what has happened with that. Because I mean, that has to be the way you kind of have to look at it, because of our sort of like main team. How do you see yourself getting in there? You know what I mean? Because you have the likes of like Hinata and Kageyama, who are just not going to be off the team. Because Hinata can hit Kageyama's quicks, and you know, Hinata is the decoy, he's the one in the team that can, you know, change the whole game. So, you know, they're going to be staying in there. Nishinori's only libero, so he's going to be in there. Bearing in mind you can't like swap him out and whatnot, but he's going to be swapped out for like Hinata and whatever. So that's just the thing that can't be changed. So that's just what it's going to be. Asahi's the ace, so he's going to stay in there. Daichi's the captain, so he's going to stay in there. and Tanaka's the sort of wing spiker. I mean, I guess. I mean, yeah, you can't really take out him either, because with him being the wing spiker, like, he's not a like, that's not a replacement for to bring in a jump float server. You know, like, they're not going to go to the front to serve. You need to be at the back to serve. So, yeah, I mean, I guess it's just a thing of, I suppose, like, I don't know. This is completely baseless, by the way. I'm just saying, like, if it's the one thing that he feels like is his only way into the team is to, like, be better than Yamaguchi, because that is the only place he can kind of get in. It's a bit sucky, but I don't know. We'll see. I'm completely basing that, like, totally on, like, the regard that, like, Yamaguchi is my boy, and you know what I mean. Like, I'm just protecting him, right? So, come on, Yamaguchi. This is it. This is your time. But yeah, he's been practicing with Nishinoya, so I guess that's what he's been doing, like, in the, like, obviously off screen. And I guess, what does he do this, like, a thing, like, every night or after school or whatever, and not just recently? I guess so. I mean, it makes sense with Nishinoya being the libero to use that as a, you know, as a way to practice against the, like, you know, the one that actually does the receiving the best. You know, but yeah. And then finally, Natsu, little sister. We've seen her before, but I think it was, like, very, very minute. I think it was like Hinata had slept in or something, and Natsu came in and, like, shouted at him. I think that was it, like, shouting at him to get up. Yeah, but she's a little cutie, and she's number 1 in gym class. So I guess the whole thing of, like, you know, because of Hinata's sort of, like, genetics of being quick and everything like that must have transferred to her, and she's a very athletic kind of person as well. So it'll be interesting, like, if in time to come we'll see her sort of grow. I mean, you would have to time skip, really, wouldn't you? But I don't know. You could get to a point, like, if this show is based around, obviously, school, and that afterwards you kind of have a situation where you have, like, you know, a time skip or time jump forward, like, maybe for, like, the finale episode or whatever, and in the last half of that episode a time skips forward, and you have, like, you know, the likes of all these characters, you know, playing, like, I guess you can't have them all well, no, you could have them all put in professional volleyball, right? It's just that some may just be getting into the national team, and you have others that are just in a league or whatnot. But if you have them, like, sort of, I guess you probably wouldn't have every single one of these people become a pro volleyball player, but I don't know, you never know. But yeah, in, like, the final half, and then it's like Natsu's in high school now, and she's, like, taking a hold of, like, the volleyball for, like, Karasuno, for the girls' club or whatever. That'd be cool. But yeah, I mean, we'll see. But yeah, Hinata's getting good with the ball control now, which is great to see. I mean, he's definitely improved, like, a lot. I remember, like, at the very beginning where he literally just had his speed, and that was and his jump ability, and that was it. He didn't have, like, the technical sides of the game at all, but he's come a long way, and specifically in this season, like, being, like, never ever sort of, like, you know, void the whole mental game of sport. Like, that's a big thing. Like, it's not just about being physically great with everything you do. So whether that's technical ability, or if you are very physical and you've got, like, that sort of, like, strength prowess or whatever, it's not just all about that. Or if you've got the skill, anything like that, it's not all about that. But to have, like, a good mental game, so being able to obviously observe, like, your opponents and all of that, and your awareness in the game, and stuff like that. It's all good stuff. It's all really good stuff. And I mean, I guess that, like, obviously thinking about it, Hinata's kind of an idiot, you know. So that's a big deal. But yeah, I mean, that's all I've got. So yeah, really good episode. We're going to get an episode 9 right now. Yeah, thank you everybody for watching. In the description below, I've linked to certain things. One of them is the Discord, so you can get yourself over there if you wish, if you have any questions. And there's also a Patreon link there as well. So if you do want to support me on Patreon, that'd be very much appreciated. There is a bunch of different tiers and rewards there, depending on how much you want to support me with. So there's the likes of early access for $5 a month. That gives you access to shows a week early. Obviously, episode 9 will be released as well for the public today. If you want to go watch episode 10 and 11 right now, you can do by becoming an early access tier patron. And that goes for all the other shows as well, like Demon Slayer and everything like that. There's also the full-length tier access there for $10 a month if you want to see any of these reactions in full, uncut, as opposed to just the 10-minute cut version. And then there are other tiers where you can pay to have a show reacted to as well. So if you want me to react to a show, go look at those tiers and see what they offer. But that's all I've got. So thank you for watching. I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye.